marriage used to be an economic contract between men and women, and you as a woman were, pretty much routinely required to put up with a little bit more or settle for a little bit less. And the trade-off was you got taken care of.
There was a time when it was, you needed it to be financially secure. Mm-hmm. I just don't even know really the purpose for it anymore.
Women know that they can earn money and survive on their own, whereas I don't think that was always the case. In the time where the only jobs that a woman could have were very limited, and where they would definitely be fired when they got married, the pressure on them to find somebody right away and to support, and the notion that only through a husband would you be supported in life was very strong. That's not there anymore.
The modern Cinderella story is not a story of urgency, is not a story of the pitiable woman. And I was thinking of Sex and the City. These women are very independent. They're still overly concerned with Mr. Right, but or Mr. Big, but they can sort of put it off because they have the means.
I don't have a problem with spending $1,000 on a plane ticket and going off to someplace new.
Some people are really surprised that I'll take a vacation by myself. In college, I think I was 19 or 20, I had planned to see a movie with some friends and they canceled on me, and I thought, well, I'm not gonna miss a movie. So it started with that, going to movies by myself, and then I went to a concert by myself, and now I'm going to Morocco by myself.
The first solo trip that I did was to Italy back in 2000. I decided to make that trip after my long-term boyfriend and I had broken up. My immediate response was to pick up the phone and start calling as many girlfriends as I knew and try to analyze the situation and get their advice about what they would do and what I should be doing. And it was very neurotic in a way. I mean, I was constantly talking about it, and I got to this point where I had this out-of-body experience, and I just kind of looked down on myself and I thought, oh my gosh, I am ridiculous. I need to figure out how to solve my own problems as opposed to keep running to other people and having them try to help me solve my problems. After crying for about a month, I decided it's time for me to get my butt off the couch, put the ice cream away, and go on a trip. So I started out in Rome, and then I went to Florence, and then I went out to some of the smaller towns outside of Florence. I remember coming back and just feeling like I can do this. I did my first trip by myself, and I really enjoyed it, and I can keep doing this. And I don't need anyone else to travel with me, and I just felt so alive.
I think women are we have to be feminists and we have to be independent, and that's fine, but I don't think that needing a man necessarily makes you a dependent person. I think you can be independent and need a man. I was diagnosed with ocular melanoma in December 2005, and I was 28 years old at the time. When the doctor told me, I thought, by the look on his face, I thought he was telling me that I was going to die. I don't want that to define me, but it is a part of who I am, and it changes you. It really changes you as a person, and I'd really like to find somebody who I can talk to about it and who understands that it doesn't define me, but who can just kind of be there with me, I guess, for the journey, whatever happens.
I personally don't feel like I need a man. I actually feel like I'm a bigger, better version of myself when I'm not in a relationship. I tend to make the other person and the relationship so important that everything else sort of, falls to the side.
Part of the reason it's really hard for us to say that we do need a man is because we've been taught for so long and so often that we don't.
If the feminist movement portrayed some kind of message that women don't need men, then that message was incorrectly given.
The whole women's movement, if anything, it should be about women being able to do and be whatever they want to be, and that all of that is okay.
I think one of the problems is that we've never defined what we mean by need. There's the positive emotional need, which is women are relational, we need to be in connection to each other, we want to be relating. Then there's a negative emotional definition of need, needy.
I just want to be a part of your life.
Oh, this is the way you do it, huh? Showing up at my apartment?
What am I supposed to do? You won't answer my calls, you change your number. I mean, I'm not going to be ignored, Dan.
And this is what baby boomer mothers were saying they did not want their daughters to do, to lose themselves and feel like they had to have a man because they weren't anything or wouldn't get very far in the world without.
When I grow up, I want to be beautiful, so people will think I'm pretty. Attractive. Yeah, and attractive, and boys will like me and they'll come up to me.
What do you guys think is more important, a boyfriend or having a group of girlfriends?
Boyfriend. Because you can always have girls, but if you just don't take a chance of having a boy, you're probably never gonna have one.
Today, I'm doing a volunteer project at the Franklin Park Zoo.
Thanks for coming out and volunteering here today. I'm Fred.
I'm Bob.
And we're co-directors of Single Volunteers Boston.
It's a good mix of people, and if you want to get out and meet people while doing good, and that's what we're all about.
The experience of doing something in a group seems a little less intimidating, believe it or not. And you're able to focus on the activity itself and not the idea of sitting across the table from someone.
Oh, whoa!
Where do you want it?
Part of the thing that I've always struggled with is the concept of independence and feeling like I have to take care of myself and not wanting to depend on anyone else. And I think what I've come to realize is that you can need someone and not depend on them. When you get to a certain point that you know you'll be okay and you're making good decisions for yourself, the idea of meeting someone, it's just something that has come to me recently, that it's okay to let someone else enjoy that with you.
In some respects, I have had people say to me, you're too picky, but they're often not from people who I respect their relationships.
It's not as if the women who are not married are wallflowers or neurotic or incompetent. It could be the other way around, that they are so accomplished and attractive that they have high standards.
I have a friend who says, why should I have to lower my standards to be with a man? He didn't have to lower his to be with me.
You may have to cross a few things off. I don't think you're going to find Mr. Perfect, but I don't think you should marry Mr. Goodenough.
There are people out there who still think that marriage is the answer, but I made a conscious decision not to be one of those women. Twice. I was engaged twice to really great guys, and that wasn't enough for me at that point in my life. I think I even went by a playground and I saw these moms with the kids. Yes? I just freaked out and I was like, I can't be that tired yet. I can't give this up yet. I just could not imagine myself being in that place at that time. It was all set up. I mean, all I had to do was put the dress on and get down that aisle, and I could not do it. My family, when they found out I was kind of backing out, came up from New Jersey and said, what's going on? What are you doing? Are you sure you know what you're doing? I said, yeah, I think I do. We're not going to get married. My parents are Asian, very traditional Chinese, and one of my dad's fears was, you know what? People are going to say that I have a really picky daughter. I kind of said, well, is that bad? And yeah, he was trying to tell me, yeah, that's bad. I'm at peace with decisions that I've made now. It's taken me probably a few years just to get through it, and I think life is really, really good now.
I'm an only child. I've grown up alone. I've done the alone thing. I'm so good at the alone thing. I travel with me. I take me to the movies. We go to restaurants. You know, I love me. But it took me 36 and 7-8 years to get to the point where, you know, I can appreciate all the great things about being single. Tired of it.